Hello, everyone. This is part 2 of the delegates interview, where we ask delegates a couple of questions to better understand about JASC 73. Today we have Jannat from the 73 American side. So we'd like to start off the interview. And before we start off, if you could give us a quick introduction, self-introduction. What is your name? Which RT did you take part in? And if you could start off with a quick, introduction of yourself, that would be very nice.
So hi everyone, my name is Jannat Gill, and the RT that I did last year was Education and Identity. I'm a sophomore, but I guess I was like a rising sophomore when I joined JASC, and I go to UMBC, which is in Maryland, and my major is Information Systems.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start off with the first question. Do you remember how you first heard about or became interested in JASC?
Yes. So for my school, we have like a language requirement. So you have to take 3 semesters of a language. So the language I actually chose was Japanese. So I actually heard about it in my Japanese class. My teacher, she sent out an email about JASC, and that's how I learned about it. And then from there, I just applied, and yeah.
Okay, fair enough. What was your kind of purpose, or what was your goal that you wanted to achieve by joining JASC?
Goal, I think it was just to like kind of put myself more out there and meet people that I haven't met before, kind of get out of my comfort zone. Yeah, I thought it was a good opportunity to do that.
Okay, we're going to talk about like what actual experience you had later on. But first of all, let's start with, the more fun side of things. What is one of your best memories that you experienced during JASC 73?
There was a lot, but I think one of my favorite ones was this one time. It was like after all like the formal kind of events were kind of over. So a bunch of us, we actually like rented a car and we like went into like the mountain in like Hawaii, and then we like saw a meteor shower, and it was like really crazy because we like climbed this mountain too, and it was just like a good bonding experience with everyone, and it was like something I never expected to do, so it was really cool.
Thank you very much. I mean, obviously there's a lot of fun activities you can do and leisure activities you can do in JASC, but do you have anything else to add on to that?
I think my favorite part was having like a buddy, so we got paired with like a Japanese buddy, and it was just cool just having like one-on-one time to like talk to someone else, because we had like very different like experiences, so it was like really interesting to like learn more about someone like one-on-one, which is really cool.
Thank you very much. I think one-on-one is definitely a really big and interesting part about JASC culture. But we were talking about obviously the fun activities and the ledgers, but now I'd like to move on to the more discussion side of things. So obviously you were in the education RT, but give me one discussion from JASC 73. It doesn't have to be related to the RT, but give me one discussion from JASC that you still remember to this day.
I think it was like when we just talked about like World War II, and like when like the Japanese side kind of asked like the American side like, oh, like you guys seem like very patriotic, and like would you guys like fight for your country? And then me and like it was actually Ivy, who was also in the American side, we were both like, no, we would never fight for our country, like it's like all of this, like yeah, it was just like kind of like a lot of misconception we've seen, I feel like both sides, and it was just really interesting talking about each side and seeing like where like the reality between like the misconception and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. I think I do agree that discussion about World War II was actually one of the most interesting discussions I also had. But actually we do have not exactly the same, but a very similar RT this year. It's something related to education. So if you could give me a couple discussions that you had within the education RT, please.
Okay. Yeah. I think one when we were kind of discussing like what we wanted to like talk about or like do for like our final presentation, final forum, whatever, we kind of just had like a bunch of like random discussions, and like one of them was talking about something like school lunches. So like we actually talk about like the differences in school lunches between like America and Japan, and like American school lunches are like actually very horrible. So we were just showing pictures and everyone was like, ew, and we're like, yeah. And then like the Japanese side kind of show like a traditional like school lunch, and we were just like, wow, we wish we could have lunch like that. Seems like so much more healthy, appetizing, delicious. So yeah.
Thank you very much. As you could probably tell, that the discussion, even though it probably started from like education, it can range into, it can develop into multiple different interesting discussions. But let's kind of move on to, I guess, life after JASC. Has JASC affected your life after you participated in JASC 73 in terms of skills or maybe connections, or maybe perspectives? If there's anything that kind of changed after you joined JASC 73, please do let me know.
Yeah, for sure. I think JASC kind of helped me be a little more outgoing and more comfortable talking with people that I've never met before. Like it definitely gives me more confidence in like talking to new people. Also definitely connections, because I met like a lot of people in JASC, like especially on the American side, because that's who I like saw more. So like for example, when I visited my friend in Boston, like I also got to saw like a fellow JASC participant. I don't know if you know Eden. Like we met up and like we got food together, and then also like Keisuke, like he's in DC, so I'm trying to go see him because it's like really close to where I live too. So like it's just like having like friends that like you can meet when like you're in a certain part, like the same part and stuff. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Obviously, interacting between the Japanese delegates and the American delegates is probably a big thing in JASC 73. But a lot of Japanese applicants have this kind of worried that what if their English might not be good enough, or what if JASC 73 is massively about English, and they're kind of worried about their English abilities. So what would you kind of say to those delegates, and to what extent do you think English matters in JASC 73?
I think like especially even with my JASC buddy, he kind of struggled with English, but as long as I feel like everyone's like really open and like they understand that it might be hard, especially speaking like a language you're not used to speaking. So everyone's pretty open-minded, at least like in JASC 73 especially, and they'll like take the time to try and understand what you're trying to say, even if you're struggling to say it. So I would just say like try your best, like be confident, don't worry, like it'll all be okay. Like.
Thank you. I think that's really, really encouraging. Actually, going back to your RT, for 1 second. So I think each RTs have this like different atmosphere, different vibe to their own RTs. Some RTs are, enjoy conflicting views. Some RTs are very, very open in terms of like accepting multiple views. What was your RT like in terms of, the daily discussions, and did you have any like conflicts in terms of opinions or any conflicting views during discussions?
I think like our RT was very like a chill kind of atmosphere, so like you could honestly like say whatever and everyone would just like listen to your point of view. We didn't really have like much like conflict, I guess, like when we had to like make decisions, for example like picking our final forum topic. Like I think we established like a topic and then like everyone was kind of like iffy about it, so then we ended up agreeing on something else. So it was kind of like you weren't really like afraid of like saying what you wanted to say. You could really say anything and everyone would just like listen, and it wasn't really like a negative kind of like, oh, this person said this or anything. It was just like, oh, okay, this person thinks this, that's cool. Yeah.
Thank you. You just mentioned final forum, which is obviously something that each RTs make a presentation and present in front of everyone, and also the alumni during the last week of the main conference. But if you could remind me what your final forum was about, what your presentation was about, because I don't exactly remember.
Yeah, of course. I think ours is actually, sorry for cutting you off. So our final forum topic was actually, it was kind of inspired by my paper, which was kind of cool. So it was second language acquisition. So it was just kind of talking about like the different ways people learn like a second language and like just like different experiences. So like I think someone talk about like, or we talk about how it is to learn a second language like in the school system, and also like the different methods that were used and stuff. So yeah.
Thank you. Sorry to elaborate on your answer again, but you mentioned like the RT paper you were referring to. If you could just explain that to the applicants, what that is and how you use that for discussions, etc. That would be nice.
So for the RT paper, everyone kind of picks a topic that's related to your RT in some kind of way. And it's usually, I think, like 8 to 10 pages, and you have to have a certain number of sources. I can't remember exactly how many sources. I think it's 5. But yeah, you can write about anything as long as it kind of relates. And then everyone usually picks like a unique different topic and then we all like read each other's paper or like skim over it, and like whatever we find interesting, we kind of just talk about it.
Okay, thank you very much. We are entering the final 2 questions, possibly 3. Okay. So what was the most challenging thing that you experienced during JASC 73, whether it be during the main conference or before the actual main conference?
I think it was before the main conference. So I was kind of like really nervous about like going somewhere all alone, like by myself, where like I don't know anybody. Like it was like really scary, and I was kind of worried because I'm kind of so awkward. So I was kind of like really scared, like, oh, what if no one wants to be my friend? What if no one wants to talk to me? Like, oh, it's gonna be so bad. Like I started like feeling like really nervous, especially like when I was traveling, like on the plane, everything. But no, everyone was just super nice. So it was like, I think it was definitely before, like the nerves and everything. That was really hard.
But obviously, you know, when you did that, and to start the main conference, you know, that was not an issue, right? You know,
yeah,
everyone was very friendly and very open.
Yeah, it was really nice. Like it was definitely I kind of expected it to go one way or the other. Like either it was like super friendly or like it's gonna be like rough. Like I was like, oh, but no, everyone was super friendly, and it was a really great experience.
Okay, thank you. Last but not least, do you have any advice for those who are about to become JASC delegates or who are about to apply for JASC 74?
I would just say like just keep an open mind and just make sure you have fun with everything you do, because it seems like a long time, like when you get there, like you're like, oh, it's like 3 weeks, but it's like so short, and you should just enjoy it to the fullest, like the entire experience, like everything. Yeah. And try your best to like put yourself out there and like talk to the delegates, talk to as many people as you can, and like make friends. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your interview.
Of course.
This was part 2 of the JASC delegates interview from JASC 73, and thank you very much, Jannat.
Yeah, of course.